You gain control of J.K. Rowling's Twitter account for a day. What unnecessary piece of information do you add to Harry Potter lore? Potter Puppet Pals is now canon. ITSAPIPEBOMB. Edit, my first silver. You have my gratitude, kind stranger. Buckbeak is an animagus who is fully intelligent and capable of turning back into a human at any time, but doesn't because it's his fetish. I love this because he was so committed he let himself be executed in the original timeline. That was his other fetish. Harry's favorite finger, for no particular reason, is his left index finger. Also, inexplicably, that's Ginny's as well. And strangely enough, Ginny's left index finger is Harry's favorite. Hagrid was a metaphor for the misunderstanding and mistreatment of furries. This is the best, worst response to this question. You bastard. It's the perfect combination of batshit crazy and utter nonsense that J.K. Rowling seems to be aiming for. Snape was a stamp collector. This is the real reason James Potter bullied him. It was really him and not the Weasleys who wrote and mailed the letter inviting him to the Quidditch World Cup. All those stamps on the envelope were his way getting back at James. Ron likes to take all his clothes off when he poops. Oddly enough, I have a friend who's been compared to Ron many times who also does this. When you're using the invisible cloak, you're not actually invisible, you're naked, they just choose to ignore you as to not make things awkward. That explains why Fudge and Malfoy send Hagrid straight to Azkaban without a trial in Book 2 when they walk into Hagrid's hut while Harry and Ron are hiding. Alright, so we are just going to give him a warn. Why are there two naked kids huddled in a corner? The fuck, Hagrid? Azkaban it is. Teenage wizards would jack off in front of the hottest moving paintings. I'm just now realizing the potential market for porn magazines at Hogwarts. The Forbidden Forest was probably littered with used, moving porn mags. Which is why the Centaurs have such a low opinion of wizards. Is that meant to be a, but it's so small. Hogwarts in the 60s was a drug-fueled Technicolor dancing orgy every night, and the only reason it doesn't come up more often is because not a lot of people clearly remember it. That must be when Dumbledore made the switch from sharp-looking suits to colorful flowy robes. Oh, I love this. Just imagine Dumbledore on a rave. Harry put his name in the Goblet of Fire. And the portion of Voldemort's soul in him allowed him to do so because it was old enough. I don't think I could top the post she made about wizards disappearing their POO with magic before Muggles invented toilets. We know they were operating it from the inside. Where it landed, nobody knows. But it probably gained sentience and mutated into a creature that only Hagrid could love. But it probably gained sentience and mutated into a creature. It became Umbridge. Voldemort's penises also have snake-slit noses. Penises. Cursed. Fun fact, most snakes have two penises. And most snakes' penises are double-headed. And most of those are spiked. Hagrid tried faux and didn't really care for it. This is so delightfully pointless. I love it. That most people don't play beyond their early 20s because they develop Quidditch arsehole. Every so often a player has to retire because a snitch goes somewhere where you don't usually want a vibrating golden orb, and frankly there's no returning from that ignominy. Free prostate massage for life, sounds great. Flesh memories. I open at the close. There's a witch writer called K.J. Loring, famous for her Muggle book series Harold Rogers, where the protagonist engages in wacky Muggle adventures. Edit, 48 inbox notices and not one Hogwarts letter. With sidekicks Roberta Beasley and Herman Danger. A wacky Muggle adventure written from the perspective of a witch sounds like an amazing children book. Oh no, cried Slav McDykel, the small fat child who could not fly. We are surrounded by criminals and wild animals and homework. What do we do? His best friend Todd Gonzalez eyed the rhinoceros burglar nervously. Well, we can't fly away, that's for sure. Fred and George Weasley switched places during the Battle of Hogwarts. When George died, Fred adopted George's life, complete with cutting off his ear, because he figured George wouldn't want him to spoil the joke. Makes sense as to why George ended up marrying Angelina Johnson when it was Fred who dated her at Hogwarts. They both dated her, she only thought she was only dating Fred. Twin win. She knew, it was only the rest of the school who was fooled. At the time of bringing his kids to platform 9 3/4 at the end of the 7th book, Harry is out on bail for wizard tax evasion due to hiring Percy as his accountant. Alternatively, Harry is flat broke at the end of book 7 and lives a life of complete poverty. You see, the Wizarding Bank was no longer willing to do business with the man who strolled in the front door and robbed the fuck out of them. Since goblins can't use wands, they also seized all funds from Harry's vault to pay wizards to repair the damages.